Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be going through the solution to exercise 5.1 from the C programming language textbook by Kernighan and Ritchie. Now, exercise 5.1 says that, as written, getint treats a positive or negative sign, not followed by a digit, as a valid representation of 0. Fix it to push such a character back on the input. Now, what I've done is I've copied this getint function that's given in the book as is. I've added some comments for the sake of readability, and this getint function uses getch and ungetch. So I've copied those functions over from the reverse Polish calculator, and these functions need access to a buffer. So I've also copied that over from the reverse Polish calculator. And what I do in main is I have an integer n that stores my number and an integer called status that tells me the status of getint, and I call getint here as so. And if my status is 0, so if my return value of getint is 0, then I don't have a number. Otherwise, if it's greater than 0, I do have a number. And I have the respective print statements here. Now let's take a look at getint. Well, actually, before we take a look at getint, let's compile the program and just see how it's going to work. I'm going to just type in a number, say 42. That's fine. It thinks it's a number. What if I type in something like A? It says not a number. But what if I type positive A? Then it does think it's a number, and it thinks that number is 0. So let's take a look and see why this is the case. In getint, we handle any sign characters, a positive or negative sign, here. Now, when I typed in plus A or positive A, C, this character here, this condition becomes true because C is equal to the plus sign. And so what we do is we skip it and go to the next character. The next character we use getch, and that next character happens to be the letter A or the character A. Now we go to this for loop. Now how a for loop works is this initialization will always run first, regardless of the condition after it. So this condition after it is digit. That does not matter for this to run. It has no effect. This will always run first. So actually the integer value gets set to 0. We dereference that pointer, we go inside it, and we set that value to 0. Then we check is digit C. Well, what is C? We just said that C is the letter A or the character A, so it's obviously not a digit. We break out and then we return C, which is the letter A, which has an integer value of 97, I believe. So when we go here, the status will be 97. Status is larger than 0, so it thinks it's a number. So what we need to do is change some of the logic in this if statement. This is what I'll do. I need to check if this character C that I read after the positive or negative sign, I need to check if that character is a number or not. So what I'll do is I'll say if it's not a digit, then what should I do? I should ungetch it. And just to be safe, actually, I'll make sure that it's not EOF. Because pushing EOF doesn't make sense. It's input that should be on the buffer. EOF is not input, it's a signal. Okay. And then what should I do? I've ungotcha, let's say, that character after the plus sign or minus sign. Now I need to get rid of the actual plus sign or minus sign. How do I ungetcha that? Well, there are two ways to do this. What I can do is something like this. Well, I can say ungetcha what character? Well, I know it's going to be either plus or minus. If the sign, that's this variable here, if sign is greater than 1, or sorry, is 1, I can do equal to 1, but actually I'll just evaluate sign, because if it's 1, it's true. So if sign, if it's 1, then ungetcha plus, otherwise ungetcha minus. But I don't really like this. I'll keep it commented just so, I don't know, but I don't really like it. What I prefer is at the beginning, let's say I'll use this other int D, and I'll let D store the sign. the actual character. And I'll do something like that. And now here, much simpler, all I can do is unget d. And then, after all this, I should return 0 to indicate that what I've read is not a valid representation of a number. Okay. Let's just compile this and let us run it. So let's see if it still works. 42. Sweet, that's 42. If I use positive 32, nice. Negative 12, nice. And now let's do plus a, not a number, nice. What if I do minus hello, not a number? And that's it. So that will be all for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.